Спасибо всем.
Thank you to everybody who comes today to the first press conference dedicated to the publication of Serhii Loiko's book Flight. I would like to introduce Serhii Loiko, the author and the publisher. And now we will demonstrate you a video on the basics of the novel. The situation unfolds in Donetsk region in the times of war. The main character knew nothing about this war. During his private investigation, he occurred in the midst of the war. He is chased by killers and mercenaries. He doesn't want to wait for the end of the international investigation and the court decision. He will not hesitate while punishing the killers, the guilty persons. You published your first book, Airport. It was the bestseller book in 2015. How long have you been writing your second book, The Flight? What is the competition in this genre? The first book run was 60,000 and 1,000 books were run was in English. I don't know any other author who published the books in such big runs. This is a huge success. It sells very fast. The demand is very high. The first run of Flight is 5,000. It has been published. The second run will be in 2 weeks. How large it will be, 5,000, 10,000 or 15,000, we will tell you later. It is in Russian. By August, September, we will translate it into Ukrainian. The translator has started working on it, and it will be published by the Lviv Forum of Publishers. How long has this book been written? We were at the restaurant with Serhii Loiko. Serhii was telling me the plot of the book in the restaurant, and I tried to document his story with the video. He was very spectacular, like an actor. The plot was very close to reality, but in the process of writing, the book has become even more thrilling. New characters were invented. The book even is more interesting than it had been planned by him previously. There are military men and law enforcement officers and gangsters among the characters of the book. It is very vivid. Now we have approached the topic on which I would like to ask Serhii. You tell that the book is based on real events, but at the same time it is very thrilling. So, what is the ratio between documental facts, actual facts, and fiction? It is based on real facts. This is a cliche. The grade 7th is based on Seven Samurais of Akira Kurosawa, but the book is a fiction book of fiction. This book is based on real story. All of us know that 298 persons died in the plane crash of the shot down Boeing MH17. This is the main event. But I have been thinking over this book for 17 years. I have told this already. But the Boeing was shot down 3 years ago, I am asked. The main event I thought to be explosions in Moscow many years ago, when the main character was investigating his wife and daughter's murder in this blast. I have been working 24 hours a day. After that, 15 wars happened in which I visited the hospital. And now Russian-Ukrainian war is in programs where Ukraine opposes the aggression of its neighbor. The airport was a novel which I wrote very fast. I have not voiced out everything. I should have written it. It is not a novel. I understood that those days. This is just a documentary which I sold into a novel. But this book is 100% fiction based on real event. All characters are invented identities, but there are some prototypes of the characters. The main character is an ex-law enforcement officer who has stolen the common fund of a criminal community and now lives in Los Angeles, Marina del Rey in the USA, and his wife and his children live in London, and when they fly to him to meet him at Samoa Island, the Boeing flight is shot down, and he turned into an investigator nicknamed Bulldog, so he is an investigator again. There was a prototype in real life who really lives in Marina del Rey in Los Angeles on the yacht. He was law enforcement officer in Russia and fled Russia, moved to the USA. Of course, he has not stolen any common funds of the criminal community. We wrote some chapters of the book together. He assisted me. He checked my texts with the General Romanenko. We have looked through all episodes of how the Boeing plane was shot down and crashed. There were many consultants besides them. 4 editors worked on the book. Beside the official editor, who is a member of staff of Igor's printing house. Of course, the version which is presented in my book, it is a version. It is not a research. It is just a version of what has happened. No more. This version can exist as I think. The main thing for me was to demonstrate in this book not a Soviet main character, not a Soviet hero from some Soviet spy novel. He's an ordinary man. He committed crimes. He was engaged in wrongdoing. He was a corrupt officer. He didn't care a dime what is happening in Ukraine. He knows where Ukraine is on the globe, but when he saw the news about Ukraine, he just turned off to his TV set. And this character who didn't care about Ukraine, who lived 1,000 kilometers far from the war site, but the war killed his family. Then he returned to Russia. He enlisted as a voluntary soldier and starts to investigate this case as a bulldog. For me it was important because airport was popular and still is popular in Ukraine and some neighboring countries, Lithuania, Latvia. But in the Western Europe it is not so popular. The readers are not interested in this topic. They do not want to read about someone else's war. And now we present the book which will be interesting. We already have feedback from the audience who read the book from many countries. We believe this book is just for everybody all over the world because it is a thriller, detective story. Do not look into the end of the book. Nobody knows what the end will be of this plot. This book is an adventure book, but very serious events lay its foundation. The main character started thinking, where is this war ongoing? This is not a political book. I'm not a politician. I hope it is just fiction. No more. I am addressing the journalist now. The book has not been published yet, but I have already 3 offers to turn it into a film. 2 of the offers are from the US studios. The airport was more fair, more documental, and I would like to ask you a specifying question. There are many characters who could be easily recognized. They look like our well-known military figures. The events happening to them are described with very precisely to the real life. It seems that a person should have some info to write this. You you have told that you have consulted a general about some episodes and about the events which happened in Russia and in the occupied territory. Where is this information was taken? I worked on the occupied territory, and I live in Russia most of the time, and in the occupied territories I was working. I communicated to Givi and Motorola gangster leaders, mercenaries. One of the critics have written about Pushkin. Belinsky said that critic Belinsky said that this is the encyclopedia of Russian life. So, and my book is the encyclopedia of Russian world. I was blamed that in the airport book I demonstrated only one side of this conflict, and I was not objective, I was not unbiased. I demonstrated only one aspect of the war from one side, and there is the other side which is also involved in this conflict. In this book I should I should to demonstrate that I showed the entire gallery of portraits of those voluntary soldiers of the Russian world, and I hope this is the encyclopedia of the Russian world. You will see there an intellectual who is a romantic of the Russian world among the characters, and he believes that he defends the Russian world, and between him and the most awful character of this book there are very many other characters. The most awful character is a serial killer who is also a mercenary. My creative method is not to add too much fantasy, not to invent when we have the opportunity to demonstrate real life, because life is much more interesting than in invented stories. There is one episode in the book where the woman is telling her story how she was a nurse in the maternity house. The woman this told me her story in reality. I have just written her real story. I included it into the book. Dante, Gabriel Rossetti are 19th century English writers of romantic trend. They laid the foundation for surrealism in their pictures such as Othello when she is dead, and she is of course not a real character, but this is a 3D effect when you hear the spring and the birds and smell the flowers, then you understand that this is not the main character Celia, but just a real woman. So I also included details in which cannot be disbelieved. For example, when a husband comes home and when he says that he was at work, and she starts beating him, and then she believed him because he had in his pants one figure, a horse from the chess game.
I would like to ask a question. You've written this is for audience 18 years plus, so this is a book for adults. This is about war. And I believe that there is no positive characters in the book. There are worse and even worse, but there are people who fight their drawbacks. But can we call you an evil writer? And if so, why you don't like these people? No, I don't think so. There are many different factors. There is humor, warm humor, and I love my characters that I created. Maybe, of course, not this maniac who keeps a bottle with human eyes in his fridge. Of course, I don't like him. Oscar Wilde is my favorite writer, and he said that there is no bad people. There are people who, under some circumstances, commit some things, but in other circumstances they can do good things. The human being is a complex thing, so there were many characters in my book. They are not ideal people. There are different people, and we see that our main hero, main character, he tries to take revenge, and first he was a corrupt Soviet police officer, and then he suffers from his personal tragedy, and he is trying to understand the situation, and he says to someone, this is not a civil war, he says. And for me, this moment is important. This is not a political statement. This person, he tries to take revenge on those who are really guilty. He is not waiting for the Hague. He is the ranger who is trying to get revenge. And also there is a character of a journalist, and she is a bitch, but in a good sense. She doesn't have a boyfriend. She just wants to get a Pulitzer Prize, and she tries to do her work the best she can. And she and him, they have conflict of interest, but they work together. They protect each other, and they are followed by these pro-Russian separatists and special services who follow them, and killers and of the gangster syndicate who wants to take revenge for the death of the son of Don Corleone and want to return huge money stolen by the main character. And also from the past of this hero, many characters arise. And if you look at this book, there are many cliches, cliched characters, all these killers, gangsters. We saw it and before, and I decided to collect these cliches and then to make them more alive. And from his memory, there arises a serial killer And Dr. Lecter looks bleak on his background, and the heroes, the main characters of the book, they have conflict of interest, but they cannot act without each other. But I won't go into detail about it. Now the last question from me. The Encyclopedia of the Russian World. This is the good characteristic of this book. And what are the prospects? And will this novel be published in this Russian world? So if we look at the short-term prospect and the Russian regime that now exists, I got rejection from 2 Russian publishing houses. I didn't address anyone else. One said that this is a wonderful book and the editor liked it. And he said that if situation would be different, we would publish this book, that this book is really needed in Russia, even more than in Ukraine, that it brings truth about war, and it is really interesting. And he said that even if we publish this book, I spoke with those who sell it. They said that they won't be able to sell it. This is self-censorship. Why in Russia all this happened? Because in the Soviet Russia in 1930s, they put a chip in our genes, and it created a matrix of Stalinism, and many people still have this chip, and they are turned again in those Soviet zombies, and this is really terrible. Another publishing house, a liberal one, really great. The chief editor said that they are not interested in thriller fiction. They wanted to publish Airport 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they really want to do it, and then they said that the editor said that the publisher said that we cannot do this, and the most I had Alina Gursthoff, one of the best editors, the agent, and she sells the rights for Russian literature. And she was the agent of Svetlana Alexievich. This is wonderful writer who got the Nobel Prize, and she said that she has difficult attitude to this novel, and she cannot work with this book. And I got information that she was pressured, and the book didn't appear, and people whom I respected, they are not allowed to deal with this book. I believe that this book will find its way to the readers in Russia and Latvia and Lithuania. They bought the rights for this book. Chinese also are interested. Today in China, the Airport is published. And what is the circulation of this book? This is 7,000 copies. Maybe it can turn into million. Who knows? We will live and see. Your questions, please. And going back to Galina Gurstov, and when I asked her to say why she have this difficult attitude towards this book, what is the problem, what is the weakness of the book, and asked her several questions, it turned out that she didn't even read this book. When he got information about this book, she was afraid, because I told her the plot, and he was really frightened and even didn't read it. She lives in Germany, and here she have some relatives. She comes here and she works with Russian writers and publishing houses, and I believe that she is just afraid that it will harm her business. But she has the right for this. I don't have bad attitude towards these people. This is self-censorship. These people, they are just afraid. But this is just the book. This is fiction. This is the version. Why are you afraid? But they have the right to be afraid, because people are killed just near the walls of Kremlin. One of the most charismatic leaders of the opposition was killed there. And this is the message for everyone. They say that they should have self-censorship, otherwise something bad will happen to you. So this war, this mafia who owns the country, they deepened the country in the darkness of the Middle Ages into fear. Radio rocks the question. In your opinion, maybe some readers have expectations that are wrong, and this is maybe they will see this cover, this red and black cover. Maybe they will expect non-fiction, but then they get they will have a fictional book. Maybe this is a failed expectations for the reader. But please, you should first read the book, and I believe that you will really like it and will read it to the end. I think that if it is non-fiction, maybe this is the really big scope of the book for non-fiction book. What about the Netherlands and publishing the book there? In the Netherlands. Yes, I can say about it. The publisher from the Netherlands addressed me and he asked to send the book to him. So we don't know whether they will like the book. They do not have censorship there. Do you have questions? Please ask. Novinarnia Publishing House, you said that you have proposals and that people want to create a film based on your book. Are you going to agree? Do you know what film company want to create a movie? I won't comment on this. This is only a preliminary stage, but there is a synopsis of this book in English, and famous American professor Ben Moses wrote it. Good Morning Vietnam, and on the 24th of April I participated in trilateral meeting, and that the producers were present, and the producers from Ukraine and the president of leading studio of Hollywood is present. And they read the airport from cover to cover. They came here, they met cyborgs, they had 3-day visit, and this was their initiative. And these negotiations are ongoing, and if, and I hope that everything will be okay, and my dream will come true, that this film will be created in Hollywood, and it will be shot by one of the most famous American directors who created fantastic movie and historic movie and the war movie, and all these films were just wonderful. Unfortunately, I cannot mention the names, but maybe the airport may be turned in the movie soon. I don't doubt it. And about fundraising, to publish this book in English. What was the circulation of the book, whether it was popular in the United States? This book is translated into English. And now we work with American and English publishing houses in order to interest them in this translation. It was done by famous American poet Alexandra Siegel. And this book is actively read now. And there were 2 comments provided by the world publishing houses. They said that this book is really good, but this is not for our readers, they say. This is what I told you about. The airport book is the book about war, and there is some element of love triangle, and some romantic line is present that connect all the episodes. But the main is the defense of the Donetsk airport, and the Americans are not interested in the topic. Donbass Realia, Radio Liberty. Mikhail. If the film is created, then it will motivate the readers to read this book. And if this book is successful, it will find its way to the Western readers, and then it will bring the airport there. So this is the complex of measures. So we created 1,000 copies, and we sold this 1,000 book in Ukraine. This was non-commercial. So this was they provided this book to the embassies like a visiting card, non-commercial project. And you said that the flight book, Latvia, Lithuania, they are interested in this book. Do you plan to publish it in electronic form? Maybe in several months it will be available. Yes, it will be done, but not at once, as they say. About presentation of this book in the Kiev Arsenal, yes, it will be presented, and after Arsenal it will be presented in Kiev center supermarkets, and there will be events in different cities, and we will inform about these events. And tomorrow this book will be in free circulation, and there will be a lecture that I will deliver in the School of Journalism in the Red Building of the Shevchenko University. And there, for the first time, you will be able to buy this book. My lecture is not about this book. It will be delivered about other things, and there is free access. Please, if you are interested in journalism and fakes, please join. And the last one. Do you continue to write more about the topic? Do you know what is the end of the book? Oh, I'm surprised. I've read it. But did you guess till the last second how it will end? So Mikhail is the living witness that it is impossible to guess how it is ending. And on Friday in Books Arsenal, there will be the first presentation of Serhii Loiko's book. We invite you. And in the Red Building of Shevchenko University, tomorrow at 9 p.m., there will be a lecture. Is this in the Institute of Journalism or in the Red Building? No, this is the Open School of Journalism. This is Dima Rayanov is an activist who carry out these seminars. So you chosen wonderful colors, red and black. So the bringing down of the airplane is the key element of this book. How this book can influence and draw attention of the international public to this event. No, it can be included in the materials of this case. One of the critics from Russia, the reaction to this book is positive. We didn't get any negative comment, even moderate comment. And this is all from Russian writers, poets, critics, and it is on Facebook, and we provide all the comments on the site, and we have a comment from a poetess Alla Bossert on Kulturu portal. You can find it, and she really liked this book. What I'm talking about, actually, I forgot. About the comments. Whether it will influence the course of investigation, the question was. I'm sorry, I'm old. And in Holland, the International Commission continues investigation. And parallel to my book, my colleague carried out investigation of his own. And he found a character nicknamed Khmury, who was commanding this missile, and this person didn't know about my book. And this Khmury, he is very similar to the colonel from my book, who was commanding this tragic shelling. So there are several versions of the event. This book is fictional, but this is close to reality. No, we cannot say this. This is not Russia 24. You understand the situation. That's why when you read this book, you will understand the circumstances, and you will find answers. It's not political. As Serhii said, he wants to keep distance from the politics, but this book speaks for itself. If you're interested, maybe you will find some politics there. And I tried to approach the politics through the characters, through the destinies of people, through what is being done to people in this hell. And this ophthalmologist, who is the maniac, he is the symbol of this war, of these terrible things that happened there. And he impersonates this world evil that is in Donbass and was put there. These grains were put from outside. And I have a specifying question to you. The time of the Mistecki Arsenal presentation, the first presentation of the book will be on the 19th of May at 7 p.m. Farbe Hall in Mistecki Arsenal. And I would like to add, Oksana, please rise. Sit. So Oksana Makhuhina is the producer of the project, the flight, and she is a coordinator. And if you have questions, you can address her and establish a contact, and she knows about the situation. She knows it better. She collects all the information concerning this book. Thank you, Oksana. And about the shops, bookstores. So in any bookstore you can find it. Serhii, can we ask you to read a paragraph of the book? Maybe it will take more time than it is expected. I am not going to do it. But we ask you to do so. Yes, maybe I will do it.
Сейчас, я сниму кепочку.
Now I will put my cap off.
Вот, значит, это эпизод. Неудобно. Эпизод рассказывает о том, что творилось на поле возле этой деревни, на которую упали обломки Боинга и вот эти тела или такие куски тел этих несчастных людей. И туда приезжает вот этот, я вам рассказывал, археолог, который даже матом не умеет ругаться, и он романтик русского мира, и его послали, чтобы он там, ну, как бы прекратил этот самый грабеж, и вот он там оказывается, и это же просто босх, прошептал археолог, чистый иероним босх в оригинале. Солнце почти скрылось в черной дымовой завесе. Наверное, вот таким явилось солнечное затмение. Воином князя Игоря продолжал рефлексировать ополченец-романтик Алексей и, смутившись своим несвоевременным мыслям, с пистолетом в руке двинулся к толпе. Навстречу ему из дыма выбежали два чертика, один поменьше, другой побольше. На секунду копателю, это его псевдоним, показалось, что это видение, что он сходит с ума. Он взвел затвор, чертик побольше гнался за другим, приближающимся к Алексею. Наконец, копатель разглядел, что это были дети лет 8-10, на обоих были детские маски с трубками для сноркелинга. На одном бледно-розовое, а на другом ярко-желтое. У того, что догонял, на руках были надеты темные ласты, и он угрожающе ими размахивал, что избило копателя с толку. С визгом, который заглушали маски и трубки, дети пробежали мимо него по направлению к селу. За ними какая-то старуха в махровом линялом халате и тапочках на босу ногу, упираясь из последних сил и матерясь, катила детскую коляску, из которой торчали два чемодана. Как она туда их засунула, подумал Чепурных. Как же расторопен и смекалист становится наш народ в счастливые мгновения присвоения чужого добра. Старуху с чемоданами командира ополченцев тоже не остановил. Она так и прочертыхалась мимо, как несмазанная телега, не останавливаясь и не поднимая на него глаз. За старой телегой из дыма выплыла, покачиваясь, громадная фигура, которая что-то несла под мышкой, придерживая это обеими руками. По приближении археолог разглядел в фигуре высокого, сильно нетрезвого мужика с огромными плечами, в синей выгоревшей спецовке на выпуск, под которой начинались длинные голые волосатые ноги с огромными пятнами ссадин на коленях. Мужик был не только без штанов, он был еще и босой. Под мышкой он нес две окровавленные тонкие руки с торчащими из них белыми обломками костей. Археолог не знал, что перед ним живая легенда местного фольклора, бывший знаменитый углекоп, а нынче известный наркоман Артем Корзухин. Корзухин прославился на всю округу не тем, что был шахтером и одновременно алкашом, который трезвым просто не спускался в забой. Этим тут никого не удивишь. Легендарен он был, потому что опохмелялся уже в забое электрическим током. В шахте той, как и почти везде на Донбассе, добывали уголь-антрацит. Для мужика двухметрового роста, как Корзухин, вагонетки были словно игрушечные. Сверху под сводом забоя шел голый кабель. Перед вагонетками микротрамвай с дугой. Дуга касается кабеля, второй контакт – рельсы. Одной рукой Корзухин брался за кабель, другой за металлический борт вагонетки. Ток был большим, но для него не смертельным. Однако свидетели утверждали, что у Корзухина при этом из глаз и из ушей сыпались искры, а тело его все сотрясалось и извивалось, как в пляске святого Вита. Корзухину, правда, для этого номера нужен был еще и ассистент, чтобы помочь ему разжать руку после электроопохмелки, что в одиночку не всегда получалось даже у такого здоровяка. А похмелившись таким образом, Корзухин дальше работал абсолютно трезвым и порой выдавал на гора по 2-3 нормы. В передовиках ходил, на доске почета из-за пагубной привычки не висел, но шахтеры между собой называли его «наш передовик алкоголического труда». Появившись на месте трагедии одним из первых, Корзухин попытался стянуть кольца и перстни с пальцев двух оторванных рук, на которые наткнулся в поле, но у него не получилось сразу. Инструмента не было с собой. Ну не отрывать же пальцы на виду у всех. Вот и потащил руки домой целиком. Когда копатель разглядел, что держит в руках этот голем, он сделал предупредительный выстрел в воздух, а потом направил пистолет на шахтера. Тот остановился и осклабился. «Ты шо, командир? Там еще есть, иди собирай!» «Стой!» – закричал Чебурных, как ему самому казалось, страшным голосом. «Стрелять буду!» Корзухин остановился, потряс головой и бросил одну из рук к ногам ополченца. «На, сука, подавись, пидорас ебаный!» Чепурных молча поднял пистолет еще выше, направив его прямо в лицо Корзухину. Тогда окончательно слетевший с катушек великан совершил то, чего никто не мог ожидать, и от чего даже у него самого волосы встали дыбом. Он схватил обрубок конечности 2 руками, поднял его к лицу и, мотнув головой с рычанием, как голодная цепная дворняга, впился в руку кривыми желтыми клыками. «Твою мать!» – выдохнул аспирант, археолог Чебурных. Закрытыми глазами, засадив всю обойму в лицо сумасшедшему, он сам потерял сознание и повалился на земь, в сухую, некошенную траву, как вещий Олег после встречи с черепом любимого коня. Ну вот это один из таких драматических эпизодов, рассказанных мне свидетелем того, что произошло. Ну, там было немножко все по-другому, но это по настроению, по ощущению, это вот то, что там происходило в этот момент, когда люди просто сошли с ума от этого страшного дождя, который сыпался им на голову.
Еще вопросы, если есть?
Are there any more questions? I have a question to you. In the airport book and in the flight book, you have one chapter there and one chapter here where the main character is Mr. Putin or his prototype. I'm just interested, I'm curious, how do you write his character? Is it easy for you? There is a president in this book. He is an invented identity, an assumed identity. If you have ever watched American movies, you can see presidents of America so as the main characters, as it is not a research, it is not based on some actual real facts. This is only a version of reality. So here we have an invented president, and today we can say it is Putin. In 20 years, the name of the president will be associated with some other name, and for readers, they will not care what is the name of the president, just an evil person, a devil. We do not have questions. No more questions. So I would like to tell that we are ready for a photo session. Thank you.
Так, сейчас принесем книги, чтобы начать открыть сессию.
И ручку сюда.